everyone, Tawana Michelle here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you have been here before. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about 5 things that I wish I had known about relationships as a young girl, as a teenager, a younger woman in my 20s. I'm a more mature woman now, and so I've learned a lot along the way. And some of those things I really wish I had known sooner. It would have saved me a lot of pain and destruction in my life, but I didn't know, right? You kind of learn as you go, but you don't have to. Nowadays, there's so much information out there. There's so many ways you can access that information just through the internet and such, videos like this, which is why I'm sharing this information with you guys. But if you don't know who I am, I did not mention that. Again, I'm Tawana Michelle. I'm a psychotherapist and recovery coach, and I focus on healing from trauma, narcissistic abuse, and codependency. And I tend to focus a lot on just self-love, self-confidence, and just being your best self. So let me get into the 5 things that I wish I had known about relationships as a young girl. No one told me. So let's start with number 1. So the first thing I wish I had known was that I would be magnetically attracted and drawn to potential relationship partners that have the best and worst characteristics of one or both of my parents. Now, you know, we kind of know on a surface level that girls kind of grow up looking to their daddies to be kind of their models for potential romantic partners, and that boys tend to do the same with their mothers, looking for partners that are like their mothers. And so I think I knew that on a surface level, and also just being a therapist and just, you know, learning about development, learning about psychology, and learning about interpersonal relationships, learning about family of origin issues and things that we can experience in our childhood that we can take into our adulthoods, especially in our relationships. But I didn't really learn that until I had gone through a series of unhealthy and dysfunctional relationships, and I sought out help for myself. And so I had a very wise therapist that I was seeing at the time, and she gave me this assignment where I had to list what I considered the best traits of both of my parents and the worst traits of both of my parents. So I wrote all of that out, and then when it was a homework assignment, and so when I took it back to the session, I had to start off with a sentence that said, I can only fall in love with someone that has, and then I had to include the best and the worst traits. So for instance, that sentence looks something like, I can only fall in love with someone who is spontaneous and reliable and responsible and strong and successful. So those were like some of the positive things. But then I had to also include the negative things. And emotionally absent, emotionally unavailable, unpredictable, addicted to substances, unstable emotionally, verbally abusive. So these were some of the negative traits that I also had to list. And so, you know, I read that, and it was a very eye-opening experience for me, because when I looked at the partners that I've had romantically in my life, and even the current partner. Now the people that you fall in love with don't have to have all of these traits. They just have to have some of the best and some of the worst. And when I looked at all of the partners that I've had, there were some traits on there for each partner. Every person that I had been in a relationship with met the criteria. They had some of the best, some of the worst. They may, some of the partners may have even had all of those traits. So it was very eye-opening for me, but it was also very frightening because I didn't want to be in that type of relationship anymore. And I had learned through therapy and through that exercise that these are the people that I'm going to be naturally drawn to. All of the positive qualities are great, but when you look at some of the negative qualities, some of the emotional instability and the unpredictability and the emotional unavailability, or some of the verbal abuse, or some of the just the volatility, the outburst, the anger, the aggression, like all of these things that I saw with one of my parents as a child, I'm going to be drawn to that. And it's not on a conscious level, of course, but I can definitely say the people that I've chosen have been people like that. So I wish I had known that, because I would have known that, unfortunately, the people that I'm naturally attracted to are not the best people for me. And that's hard because you like what you like. But I have learned that is a warning sign for me. That's a red flag. That's an immediate red flag. If I feel immediately drawn to you romantically, you are not healthy for me. And that may not always be the case for everyone, but I'm telling you, that has been the case for me. So that's just one thing I wish I had known. The second thing I wish I had known about relationships as a younger person is that relationships cannot make me whole and make me happy. I have gone from several relationships, unstable relationships, seeking wholeness and happiness. And the reason I had these several relationships was because I was looking for something in another person that they could not give me. For one, and I didn't know this because as a young girl, you hear stories like, find someone who's going to make you happy. Well, no one told me that doesn't exist. So I'm out here searching for these. I don't have happiness within, mind you. So I'm out here searching for someone who's going to give me that, because I'm thinking, I was told then that someone can make me happy. And I didn't even know that I didn't feel happy within myself. And I didn't even know that I was supposed to. I just knew that something was missing, and that something that's missing, I'm going to find it in a relationship. So I get to a relationship, even a marriage that eventually failed, obviously, because I didn't know all of the things then that I know now. And I'm feeling incomplete and unhappy. And guess who I'm blaming for that? Not me. I'm blaming the other person because it's their job. I thought they were supposed to make me happy. Had I known that, for one, going back to number one, which is another reason why I can identify a couple of relationships that have failed. I can identify that the reason is they didn't have some of those traits that I needed to feel like madly in love with someone. So some of the nice guys, I wasn't really feeling them like that, because I didn't know that they needed to be like the best and worst. Just being the best wasn't gonna cut it. But so that's one reason. But the second, probably biggest reason that my relationships have failed is that I thought they were supposed to make me happy. And so, I would look for things that they were doing wrong that I thought made me unhappy. And then I would look for things that they were not doing at all that they were supposed to be doing to make me happy. And so I just wasn't getting what I thought I needed from them. That's so important to learn as early as possible in your life, guys. It'll save you so many heartaches and just failed relationships. The people that you are seeking to provide you happiness cannot do it. It's not that they don't want to. It's that they cannot. And you know, it's always like, even when I am kind of happy, something's still missing. It's just still not enough. Because what was missing, you know what was missing. What was missing was something within myself that I didn't have and I couldn't get from them. So that was the second thing that I learned. The third thing I wish I had known about relationships as a young girl was that people are going to show you who they are in relationships, and you need to believe them. My favorite quote of all times is by Maya Angelou, and she says, when people show you who they are, believe them. Okay? I didn't do that in relationships for many reasons that I'm not going to get into, but it's like red flags were there and I ignored them. People showed me who they were and I gave them chance after chance after chance. Now, does this mean people have to be absolutely perfect in relationships and can have no flaws? And no, that doesn't mean that. That basically means if someone shows you that there is a side of them that is cruel, mean, abusive, that they lack empathy, that they are not considerate of your feelings, like, these are qualities that are not going to change. Okay? I'm not saying people can't get mad and have an anger outburst, but if that anger outburst includes belittling you, shaming you, humiliating you, getting physically aggressive with you, being verbally abusive with you, intentionally trying to tear you down, intentionally trying to hurt you, that's a red flag. There is a difference between getting angry and having an outburst of your own emotions versus having an outburst to attack someone else. So when someone is personally attacking you, that is a huge red flag, and they're showing you what they're capable of. And that only progresses. That only gets worse. So when you're seeing these signs and you want to believe, oh, well, they just had a bad day, or maybe you even start to blame yourself. Well, I shouldn't have said what I said, or I did something to really piss them off. No, they're showing you what they're capable of and who they are. You need to believe them, and don't wait until it progresses to the point where things get really out of control and even dangerous, because that has happened with me. So that's something I wish I had known as a young girl. And the fourth thing that I wish I had known about relationships as a young girl is that my body is very sacred, and it's a gift that I give to someone. And when I give that gift to someone, I give it to them forever, and I can never take it back. And you know, that sounds like, okay, duh. Of course, when you have sex with someone, you give yourself to them and you can never take it back. But as a young girl, you're not really thinking about it in that way. First of all, I also, attached to that, I also wish I had known that you can't find love and loyalty through sex. Because we tend to think, well, if I can bond with someone physically, then they're going to also feel emotionally bonded to me, and they're going to love me or be loyal to me. That is not true. In fact, the love and the loyalty is supposed to come first. And yeah, physical intimacy can add to that, but you cannot get love and loyalty through that alone. So that is definitely something I wish I had known as a younger girl, because you know, everyone was not deserving of that gift, and I have many regrets in that area. But I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know in the way that I know now. You know, you get older, you live and you learn. But no one told me that directly in those words. You know, like, yeah, they may have said, well, save yourself for the person you're married to. Well, okay, what does that really mean? Beyond that, beyond the surface of that, what that really means is that, and I'm not telling y'all to do this, y'all. It's just, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that either. But what I'm saying is, you have to be mindful that once you give your body to someone through the act of sex, That is a permanent gift that you have given them. It's a gift and a privilege. You have to see it as such. And that's something you have given them forever. There's no going back. There's no taking that back. You know? It's just like sometimes when you say the wrong thing and you're like, well, I take it back. There's no taking it back. It's like the internet. Once you put it out there, there's no taking it back. Sex is the same way. There is no taking it back. So that's just something I wish I had known as a young girl, in the way that I know now. And the fifth thing that I wish I had known as a young girl, that I know now, is that you can't have a healthy relationship with someone until you have a healthy relationship with yourself first. And I know that sounds really cliche, but that is 100% absolutely the truth. I have to be happy with me. I have to feel complete within myself. I have to know who I am. What are my likes? What are my dislikes? You know, what do I enjoy doing? What makes me feel complete within myself, outside of another person? What gives me wholeness on my own? I have to be comfortable with me first. Because if I'm not comfortable with me, then I cannot be comfortable with someone else. If I'm not happy with me, I can't be happy with someone else. If I'm not complete with me, I cannot be complete with someone else. And I'm always going to be looking outside of myself for that. Like I said, for number 2, I'm going to be looking for happiness outside of me instead of giving it to myself. And so the 5th point is basically just that. Another mistake I made, which, you know, is a part of that, could also be its own. Just going from relationship to relationship and not working on healing and wholeness first. So work on loving yourself, having a healthy relationship with yourself, healing any wounds that still need to be healed, looking at your childhood and figuring out what you've brought into your adulthood in terms of relationships, patterns of behaviors, and working on those things before getting involved with someone else. Because I didn't do that. You know, even now, you know, I'm happily married in a relationship with someone, but there's still a lot of stuff that I'm still working on now that I wish I had finished working on prior to getting into this relationship. Doesn't mean that I regret it. It just means that I recognize I've brought this into my current relationship, and that could have been prevented. But, you know, the things happen as they happened. But these are just things that I want to put out there and tell you guys so that maybe you can avoid making some of the mistakes that I made along the way. Maybe you can learn these lessons now instead of learning them through experience and consequences and destruction and pain in your lives. Because I didn't know. No one told me these things. I had to learn them on my own. So just wanted to share that with you guys. So that's all I have. If you guys can think of some other things that I didn't mention that maybe you wish you had learned about relationships, put it in the comment section below. If you have any questions about anything that I've said, drop that in the comment section below. If you have any ideas for future videos, put that below as well. Also, if you like this video and you thought it was helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share it with someone that you think may benefit. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, have a good day. Bye.